Starting a little, excuse me, late today as today was the first day of school, and so we were busy making sure that my son made it on time and all that kind of stuff. We're back again on Thovan's plot, the Sanctuary, the side project that I'm working on for a guildmate. Um, let's see. Just to kind of a recap, I sorta kind of finished the bridge, mostly just the, I don't know what you call that, the framework of it. And you can see that I started adding some baubles to it. We may get to work on some of that today as well, but today's goal is to work on the tree. Um, but I wanted to recap what I did fiddle with. You can see I've included some more rocks to kind of help define the pool. I may change the shape depending on how things set up. I don't want it to be purely a square, hopefully. The reason I had to definitely line these up like that was there was a texture seam on the main object that I'm using for the water. And it was a special request that I try and hide that up because the object I'm using isn't perfectly flat. It's the glowing space weed. It's just flipped up upside down, and I'm using the bottom of it, and it's kind of got some weird shapeness to it, and just it's not an easy item to work with. So there was like some seams as to where the textures kind of meet up, and hey, Crack, no giveaways. I don't really do the promotional stuff. Anyway, so I did have to kind of line these up in this fashion to try and hide that. And you can see I've added in some bushes and stuff because there was a very large part, and you can even kind of see bits of it here, of the water still extending past the rock, and I've did my best to kind of cover that up, but I purposely left a little bit of space in case Tho decides he wants maybe uh, a little meeting area for Oren or something, you know, a little hut or something. I don't know what he might want. I'm going to leave that up to him if he wants anything included. If not, then it's just some grass area. I still have a gap here to fill in, but as landscaping really isn't my strong point, uh, not that I have any major strong points, but it's the least of my skills there, is I'm going to keep it as simple as I can. Um, that's why I spent so much time working on the detail of the bridge. I still have the legs and stuff to put onto the walkway, and I'm still deciding on how I want to treat this. If I want to leave it open, if maybe I want to add some of these baubles along here, but maybe intermittently, like every other one or every other two or three. I don't know yet. I don't want to get it too. I considered, you know, maybe an enclosed walkway with, you know, a top or some railing, but I didn't want to really block it off too much because the entrance to the bunker house is down here. So I still want people to have access to it. And so anyway, as far as the bunker house, I did do some changes. One of the big ones was one of the staircases. Nobody felt it kind of crowded up a little bit too much, so I've changed that to a spiral one instead. If you recall before, it was a slanted kind of a ramp, and it almost met up with these two and just had barely a little bit of a walkway between the three. So we've just changed it up and made it a spiral. I will probably add some kind of, again, some type of railing stuff. The main thing I want to be sure is I leave enough space for someone to walk up comfortably without getting stuck. Right now, the ascending part, it's smooth. There's no catches or anything. It's a nice smooth walk, but if I add any kind of railing or things like that, extra decoration, it could make the path too narrow. So I'll have to be watchful on that. But other than that, I really didn't do anything new inside here. Mostly I spent a little time with Sylvain, talking with him of some of the ideas of what I had planned, like specific locations in that area for which rooms, what kind of stuff I was going to put in it. But anyway, today's goal is to at least progress some on the tree. I don't know if we'll actually be able to complete it because there are some items that we've been having to collect, and I don't know if we'll have enough without collecting some more, so it could be stretched out. But I think the goal for at least getting most of it built can be done today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my handy dandy staircases. It's always hard to see the blue one on here, just so I can better kind of look around and I actually need another one, but for now we'll do this. That's the main trouble with building something that's tall and that you need to kind of get a full round view of. You get into the trap of, or the issue of being able to get a good shot of it, good view. Because I know some games might have like free camera ability where you can just fly around your plot and make it easier to build things like this, but we don't have that, so we just kind of make do with what we can squeeze out of here. So I don't have like a tree that I'm looking at to plan where the branches go. I'm just kind of saying, well, this looks kind of empty. I'll put one here, put one there. Another thing, I'm not even sure really haven't checked to see if we have any fence posts. If we do, this may be pretty limited because, yeah, we've still got 23 to work with. So I'm hoping that'll be enough. If not, then, you know, I'll have to do a little delay so I can craft some more and get him to stick them into the crate. But we will try and make do with what we got. But as you can see, I've done a pretty good start. It's basically just white picket fence posts upside down and kind of positioned in a way that you don't see the little knob on the one end. In some places it might be showing, but I'm doing my best to try and keep that hidden as best I can, and trying to make where each piece joins to kind of look like a tree knot rather than, you know, end of a fence post. So the way I've been doing it is, like I said, I'm just kind of arbitrarily picking a spot that looks like it needs a branch. And so I think this one here will be good. So let's bring up Katya's builder toolkit and I just pick an angle and I start fiddling with it. Usually if I'm having one branch joining another, I make the new one smaller than the one it's joining because it makes it easier to tuck in the bits that I don't want seen, typically. Not always, but typically. In some cases, when I have a nubbin like that showing and I don't want to make this any smaller than it is, then I will do like having the double. You'll have this one here and then I'll have another one on the opposite side to kind of hide the bump of this one and so forth. The stronger the angle, the more it's likely to stick out as well. So that's something to keep in mind. And then you just kind of, I just fiddle with it until it feels comfortable. Don't have any set, hard, fast rules about this. I just kind of go with it. And I'm not really like going, well, this one is size this, so this one has to be the same size. I just wing it because it feels more natural that way. Instead of forcing it to always be a specific size, I just eyeball it. If it looks like it needs to be smaller, I make it smaller. If it looks like it needs to be bigger, I make it bigger. So like so, you've got the one hiding the nubbin of the other. Pretty much all I've been doing. Now, I still probably want to tuck that in. And thankfully it's small enough and everything that it's not really going to poke out the other side of itself. Something like that. It's going to be, rough edges and bits, but that's, the name of the game when you're using a piece that really isn't meant to be used like this. Let's see, it feels like we're missing one here. We're just going to take this one. Now, you could be like bringing them out at an angle. You could do that. I'm just keeping mine simple and just sticking with the sides. It's either going to be, keeping it at the 90 degrees of the current one. Now, I have turned them slightly a little bit, but I still keep to the flat sides when I'm joining them. But that doesn't mean you have to stick with that. It's just the way I'm building this particular tree. We're going to put one here. And as far as knowing when it's done, I don't know. It just either I'm just going to make it my goal to use up all 23 pieces, or just say, well, that looks like I've got enough bits and just call it good at that. I don't know. Again, I don't have a specific thing that I'm following or anything. It's just me putting pieces together. Hey, Sam said, yeah, you think I'd do it the smart way and just use some trees that already exist, but I really wanted a white one, and well, they just don't have any really good white ones. So that's me for you. Let's see. Copy this one again. There we go. Let's see. Maybe, let me look here. Whoops. Maybe one from, you can see there's a big nub in there that's sticking out. Poor thing. Looks like he's got a disease or something. Little tree lump. Ooh. Sorry to hear that, Samson. I've never had a broken finger. I've had a couple of sprains, but ugh, that's not good. Breaking your finger and falling off your bike at that. Um, Not good at all. Let's see. I think we're missing something here, so I'm trying to decide if I want to branch it here or here. I think we're gonna branch it from here somewhere. So let's use this one. Size it a bit. Is it like in a cast or something? That would be kind of weird. Let's see. That looks like it's new. Try this. Oh, really wonk that one. Yeah, I imagine it kind of sucks. Oh gosh. Like I said, I've had a few sprains. I think the only thing I've actually ever broken was my collarbone, but that was when I was an infant. It happened during the delivery, and they didn't even put anything on me, or they just said, well, she's going to be cranky for a while, so just a heads up on that. But yeah, and actually I don't even think it was a clean break. It was just a crack or something. Now my brother, on the other hand, he was all the time breaking stuff. Uh, having to do his little skateboarding tricks and biking and horse playing with his friends and stuff. He was always damaging something, but I was fortunate to avoid most of that. Okay, so now it looks like we're missing something here going that way. So let's see. Do we want to? Let's put it here again. 2 free fingers on the left hand. Are you a lefty? Or because that has a lot of issues too. Because the sprains that I've had has always been on my right hand, and that being my dominant hand, that was really a pain in the rear. Because especially if you rely on that hand for your line of work or something, that can be a downer as well. Okay, tuck this in here. Almost like I know what I'm doing. I just kind of Kind of fits in real good. The only thing that's bugging me is that one bit. There we go. Okay. Searching for empty hole areas. I think we will put more in here. I don't really want to do it too much inward. I want to leave it kind of open in the middle. Try here. Well, it just sends chills down my spine. Samson, thank you very much. Now my son, he didn't do a break, but he did a dislocation. He dislocated his foot. So it was like he was playing softball and he skidded into a base and he never got back up. It was just when he went to get up, he had to collapse again because his foot was like dangly or whatever. And then, of course, a few minutes later, it was like swollen like a big old nastiness. And of course, I didn't take it very well. He was actually the one saying, "Mom, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay." Because I was like probably white as a sheet, ready to pass out because I was like freaking out that he had gotten hurt and everything. But thankfully, he hasn't broken any bones yet. But yeah, I can imagine it's not only uncomfortable, but cumbersome too. Because I mean, you know, it's like one of those things when you hurt something, you start to realize just how much you use it because every time you turn around, you're needing it for something. Like, well, I was going to do this, or I need to tie my shoes. Maybe that's not so easy to do with just one hand. See, we're going to add one kind of out this way, I think. Or maybe it should go this way. Can't decide. Let's do it this way. Let's see. It's hard to see from here. Don't want to make it the same angle as this one because it'll look too repetitive, I think. So again, in trouble seeing the whatchamadoodles. I am horrible with terminology, people. If you haven't figured that out by now, you should know. I am very bad about that. Usually, my husband jokes around that everything is thingy. You know, I'll say, "Can you get the thingy so I can open the thingy?" And he's been around me long enough; he knows what I'm talking about. But there we go. Lower that thing down so I can see. A little smaller, I think. And I guess maybe one going in. I'm not sure I'm going to like that, but we'll try it. And we'll add that one up more straight. Maybe smaller too. Ugh. Wigged out on that real bad. There we go, something like that. Yeah, I think it's coming along pretty good. Now, I've been debating on whether or not, how to do the greenery, the poofy part, top of the tree, the bushy stuff. And I think with what I'm planning to use, I'm going to have something in place to act as kind of a guide as to where I place it. So when we get to that point, bear with me because I'm going to be experimenting with some ideas of how I would do that. I'm just trying to decide, is this enough skeleton of the tree? Or should I go even smaller? Maybe smaller. I think we'll put one here. The little one. It. Hope that'll do. Ugh. Cooperate with me here. I sneak it in a little bit. There we go. Let's see, we'll put one here as well. Put that down. Ugh. Ah, keep turning it too much. Come on. Oh, for crying out loud. A little bit more, I'm afraid it's going to be sticking out too much. Maybe I'll shrink it some more now. Maybe in a thicker part, right on the edge there. Almost. There we go. Well, that's really super tiny, isn't it? Let's see. One here. Oh, for crying out loud. Let's go here and get a better shot. Let's see. That down a little bit more. There we go. Just adding branches here and there, just hoping to kind of make this look as natural as possible. I mean, obviously it's not going to be as organic as a real life tree, because those grow in all sorts of weird ways, but we can get it kind of believable, then that's good. Okay. Any other place? What looks empty? Like several. I feel like this one up front is being neglected, but it's hard to tell. Let me see. First, let me do a reload. It's doing that skippy thing again. I wish I knew what was causing that. I don't know if that's something on my settings or it's just housing in general or what, but that's super annoying. And it's only in housing that I get that. Frustrating. Okay, let's see if we can I'm thinking these three back here are all right, but this one, the front one, just looks missing some stubs, or maybe this needs to be shrunk down a little bit. I think that might be what's bugging me, because it looks like it's incomplete because it's so huge. So let's take this down a bit. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Got these big. Bump that up a little bit. I don't want it to look like it's not blending right. No, just probably just gonna end up putting it right back the way it was. Okay, that'll work there. Let's see. That change much up here. That looks okay. This one, little. Okay, let's try elevate this. Okay, that doesn't look as bad as it think. I don't know. I think I will leave that like it is though. I don't know. Let's see. If I add another one here, it's going to be really tall on this one, and these others are going to be shorter, so I don't know if I'm happy with that or not. Maybe I just made this too big here. I don't know. I think it'll be all right. Let's see. Again, I'm just looking to see. I'm not sure I like this one here. I'll move him here. just lots of little tweaking. And again, if you don't have the patience for this building stuff, you know, no one's going to hold it against you. There's a lot of bits and bobbles to it. Yeah, I don't like that better. I really like the idea of having that open in the middle. Um, just deciding on if I want to. I think I'll add one here as well. Because like any other aspect of the game, housing is not for everybody. And there's no shame in that. It's just like, you know, I'm not big on PvP and while I do raid, it's not like a must for me to do it because I find it, you know, entertaining and fun, and I like seeing some of that content, you know, but it's not. Let's see. Does that look like too much there? Bring one here. Don't want to get too nuts with all the little branches and stuff. It might get a little too much, too full looking, I guess. Whoa, way this way. That just looks weird with it pointing straight up. That right. Not even sure that looks good. So okay. Let's really don't want to make it any taller than it is. I think it's pretty tall already. So I guess next we're going to have to start thinking about how we're going to fill in the greenery, the leaves and the blooms and stuff. My thought last night was I would use domes as like a guide and put in the domes kind of like this is how it's dome shaped, and using that as a guide to know where to stick the other bits and then remove the domes later, and then you have this kind of like you know, when you do it like a paper mache and you want like a round shape, a lot of people will blow up a balloon and use that as the mold or whatever, and then you pop the balloon later and then you just have the shape that you want. And I think that's the same concept I'm going to go for here. I just want to be sure that the tree is done, because later it will be very difficult to add new branches if I feel like it's not branchy enough now. It will be tricky to add them later because of all the other stuff that will be there. I see one that I already want to pop over here. This one looks too high. Bring it down. Go take another look from a distance. And I usually, if I'm aiming for something to be kind of the eye catcher, I look at it from, you know, as if I was just coming to the plot. Does it look a good shape? I know it looks a little empty here, but I kind of like that it's not perfectly symmetrical or anything. So yeah, I think that's good. I want to look at it from this side as well. It doesn't look too symmetrical or anything. Just look at it from over here. Best we can. Yeah, that looks all right. So the next thing to do is to make sure everything that you want kind of hidden and not really visible, like the little bumps and stuff, that most of that is taken care of. I know there's this one here, but I worked and tried to get it hidden, and I just didn't have much luck with hiding it. So I will just consider that a flaw. But it's a livable flaw. I can deal with it. Okay, so now we work on doing the shape of the tree as far as the greenery goes. So how are we going to do this? I don't even know if this is going to work, but this is how I'm going to try it anyway. So I think he's got some domes here, a couple of them. And let's plop those out here and we'll see how we might do this. I don't know if I need to do it as like a full ball so that I can have the greenery kind of do that, or have it like just the domes and have the greenery just kind of go across the domes and it will fill in on its own. I don't know if that makes sense, but so first I'm going to decide, okay, you want the bigger dome to be up top, I guess. So you're going to have to really kind of imagine how this is going to look. Because I have a feeling that the material that I'm planning to use for this, which is the weeping flower cups, will be very difficult to just place freehand without having some sort of a guide to follow. So I'm hoping that this will alleviate some of that. I'll probably tweak it and stuff after the domes have been removed, but I'm hoping that this will be kind of helpful. Maybe. I don't know. It could turn into just one big fat disaster. Yeah, just reduce the size here and I'm trying to look at all angles and see how that might naturally fit there. A little tilted. This is going to kind of represent the area around these branches here. Then we've got another one here, and a little smaller, and again tilted a bit. Those will be the three main, I think, bits. think this needs to come down a bit. And then we'll have a little bit of filler, maybe a smaller bunch here. Let's just add it so we get. I'm moving it the right. Something like so. Really not sure if this is going to work as I'm thinking, but I'm going to give it a try. So in theory, the shape will be kind of like this. It's not going to be really clearly defined as this, because like I said, I'm just going to be using the weeping flower cups or whatever they're called. It's probably not going to be anything as shapely as this. I just need some kind of, I think it will help to have some kind of a guide to follow. And then I can, patch it up here and there as I feel is necessary. I feel like I might need one here as well. Maybe this just. Just add another one. Don't know how confusing this is going to get once I start laying in the flowers, so we'll see, I guess. Now, if you really don't mind a weird looking mushroom tree, you could probably just leave it like this and call it good. I don't know. But I'm going for more like I equate it to like a dogwood. That's what I'm picturing in my head. Or like a cherry blossom tree. It's just going to be a lot of white flowers. Okay, I think that's a good start. Okay, so the next thing is to decide where to start. I guess the smartest would be to start with one of the lower, smaller shroom tops or whatever, and then just work our way up, kind of like layering the flowers in. Now, obviously, the plants that we're going to be using are not curved. It's just a flat patch, so you're going to need a lot of them. That's why I say we may not be able to do a bunch of this because I don't think we have a huge surplus of these flowers, unless Thove has really grinded some up and put a bunch in. So yeah, we're at 13 flower patches right now. And these come from the Ice Pond Fab Kit. So really easy challenge to work on it. You just go around on this little slick little ice pond and you collect little orbs. Very simple, doesn't take, but it's not even like a minute or two long to do it, and you got plenty of time to do it. The trick is, or the way that I speed it up and manage to get everything in the time frame is to jump. Don't try and run on the ice alone, just kind of jump and run, Because jumping gets you off of that slick surface and you're not skidding too much, because usually you kind of feel like you're running in place. And so jumping is the best tip I could give on that. And of course, you can repeat the challenge every 30 minutes. So if you happen to be in game and you're going to want it, just kind of try and remind yourself, hey, you need to go back to there and work on that again. So I'm going to be using the domes as kind of a guide as to how to place it so that it turns it That way I'm not having to do that too much manually. And I'm just going to place them at their regular size, and then later we'll start resizing bits here and there. So something like this. Pick a few areas that you think you feel like it needs it, and then just dump them in. And it should, conform to the shape of the dome. That's the easiest way I could think of to try and get this, kind of going. So again, you just pick a spot and you start laying them in. And judging by the size of it, you use that as your kind of guide as to how many you need to put on a particular dome. You can see we've used up almost all of them already, and we're barely into the third dome here. So that is that. So what I'll do, just to show you what I'm talking about, is we'll remove the dome. And we'll play around with sizes. See if we really flesh it out a little bit better. Because I'm hoping that the more flowers we add, the denser it will appear. And that will help kind of sell the idea that this is a very flowery kind of thing. The problem is I probably will need to add more branches, I guess. It may look a little weird with some of the flowers poking out there, with nothing holding them up. I'll have to leave these domes because we haven't used them full yet. Make sure you're clicking on the flowers before you move anything. Don't be clicking on the water there. It could be that I maybe want to push these in a little bit. That might help. Like I said, the domes were just a guide to try and help me kind of get an idea of where I need to put them, and to kind of help quickly put them in a shape. And then you just kind of start readjusting them as you feel like you need to. I'm talking as if I know what the heck I'm talking about. I'm winging it here. This is completely ad lib. Now, what I may do is add in some more domes upside down to give it some more of the rounded rather than having a little. I think that will help. Just kind of tightening it in a little bit so it's not too floaty. Yeah, I think that'll work pretty good. Like I said, the more flowers I get my hands on, the denser it will become, and I think that will help sell it a little better. Or just remember, when you're clicking on this stuff, make sure you're clicking on the flowers. Don't be moving any other stuff around. Oh my gosh. Fit in. You know, it's possible I might have missed a few sizing it up. You just kind of keep clicking on stuff and hoping that you get the right one. But, you know, for those that are looking for ways to, you know, maybe kind of do this for themselves, this is one approach you could try. I don't know if it'll work every time or for everybody. A lot of it depends on the kind of tree you're probably trying to make. If you're trying to make a specific type, I mean, I have a white tree, so I wanted white flowers, and that kind of limits me on the foliage I can use anyway, because there's not very many white flowers, especially ones that are as easy to come by as these. So, let's see, that has a gap there. Turn this one. No, wrong way. And so depending on your needs, the type of tree you're trying to make, and all that kind of thing, it could affect, you know, vastly on how it shapes up. You could probably go with maybe you want to make some kind of, I don't know, I call it a magnolia, but I might be using the wrong term, but using some really big, bold flowers for that. As you can see, I'm just tweaking bits here and there now because I'm looking for, I want a kind of a rounded shape overall, so where I see gaps and things, I'm changing it up a bit. Like I said, the domes were just a guide, it's just there. Now, I'll probably, you know, I really want to get these really dense. That's why it's important that myself and Thobane work, get as many, our hands on as many of those as we can. And so far, every time I do the challenge, I've been getting the flowers. So thankfully, it hasn't been an issue of where, like, you know, you go and you just keep getting renown, and you're not getting the item that you want. So that's been a big plus. Okay, so that's about all we can do on the tree right now. I'm gonna have to leave it kind of impartial, you know, incomplete, because just need more flowers. I turn this one here. There we go. But I think it will work. I just got to be patient. Now, a lot of this is not an instant overnight kind of thing, so you have to kind of work at it. Okay, since we can't really do any more on the tree, we will work a little bit on